And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs, the jobs podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, LinkedIn Logs podcast jobs, C Plus Comedy. Here we are, back again another week, back again with a lack of any offers. Period. People think it's easy. It's so funny. It's so funny. You hear people. I always hear people complain that young people are jumping from job to job. I don't know who the hell is doing that because I can't even get job. It's very true. Lying to people. Oh, yeah, I'm freelancing. Oh, this stinks. Oh my God, I hate it so much. But here we are. What's been going on in my job hunting world? Well, I downloaded more job application apps, whatever, to my cellular device, which I generally try not to have, which I'm not a fan of having. I don't want to have too many apps on my phone. It's not about being distracted because I'm not a person who sits on their phone a lot. But at this part-time job, when I'm not doing anything, I don't want to spend all day watching YouTube or listening to a podcast or something like that. I want to be productive. It's just, I imagine being an adult person and making barely above minimum wage. And one of your tasks is take out the trash. And your supervisor is texting you, "We need more water in the coolers." And you're like, I was in charge of people. I had important jobs. Same thing could be said about when I was at CNN. I'm running hot today. Running hot. And I feel like I'm going to say something pretty bad on this show, but it doesn't matter. Not many people listen to it in the first place. But okay. Oh, the non-compete clauses did pretty well. Oh, look at that. Pretty well. All right, so what have I applied to recently as of late? Well, I've gotten a lot of, let's see, like I'll basically just go to Indeed sometimes, and I'll just go, local, freelance, whatever, what have you. I'll do all that stuff. I'll apply to jobs that are paying more than the gig I have now, and I'll write little cover letters. I've gotten into the habit of writing one paragraph or two paragraph cover letters. In total, probably like 10 or 15 or definitely less than 20 sentences. If you're applying to 50 jobs over the course of 3 days, I'm just at this point, because I've done the canned cover letter where it's just the same thing over and over again. I just replace the company. I've done the AI thing. I've done literally every iteration of a cover letter, and now I'm at this point where I'm writing with heart. And I'm writing the specific company like, hey, Vox. I just submitted to a Vox job for the 200th time. I'm like, hey, Vox, I'm interested in this position. This is why. This is how I can help you. This is what I can do. I've applied to so many jobs at Vox. And then the person will be like, you shouldn't do that. You blah, blah, blah. Well, if people can write about mental health or being a mom, I can do this. And again, no one's going to hire me. But anyway, but like I just write it just essentially from the heart. Listen, I'm good at what I do. XYZ, you need to hire this guy. If you want to excel, if you want to get past the typical stuff. That's what I'm doing all the time. And a lot of these places, speaking of me using AI cover letters, a lot of these places specifically say if you're using AI, because like it'll be like an editing job or some type of writing thing. Then they'll be like if you're using AI to do the job, then we don't accept that. To which I take as my understanding, which is why I stopped using AI cover letters, generated cover letters rather, with my information and the job's information. So it's not like I'm going AI type me a cover letter. No, it's using these qualifications for this specific job. Please put in my qualifications and see whatever. Who cares? And you'll see it. But anyway, I'll see a job that says if you're using AI to write to do your job, then don't apply or whatever. And you will be caught and stuff like that. I think I saw something yesterday that's like, you will be caught or something like that. And I take that to understand that they do have a tool, their own AI tool, that will analyze and say, hey, this was written by AI. So that's why I've started writing my own cover letters from the heart. Again, from the heart. Hey, I'm highly interested and motivated. Blah, 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 blah. I've literally done everything. And it's also funny, like, again, people who have jobs, who have had them for 20 years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they've never had to look for another job in that time period. They don't know how much the market has changed. If you've been working since you were 21 years old and you graduated college, or same thing, if you've been married since you graduated college, you have no idea how different it is out there in this world. So that's what's going on in my neck of the woods. Jack stuff. Not a thing. Then you go on LinkedIn and you see someone who's been unemployed shorter than you. And they go, oh, after 2 long months of looking. These are the most heartbreaking months of my life, honey. Let me tell you. Let me tell you the things I had to do to survive. I have to do, not had to. Rather, I have to do to survive. Because I'll tell you, I'll show you friggin' heartbreaking. All right, hey, let's get on with this. This comes from Variety, written by Brian Steinberg. Kim Godwin exits ABC News. This is a surprise. She's the first black woman to run a broadcast network news operation. She's leaving the Disney-owned ABC News amid increasing concern about the way she was managing the home of shows like Good Morning America and World News Tonight. Godwin told staffers in a memo on Sunday that she planned to, quote, retire from broadcast journalism. Her command has come under increasing scrutiny since a restructuring of ABC News and Disney's ABC stations had her reporting directly to Deborah O'Connell, a Disney business veteran who is seen as a valued operator at the company. O'Connell will lead ABC News for the foreseeable future, she told employees on Sunday evening. I don't know. I knew who Kim was, and I didn't know. I don't know the vagaries of how she was managing the home of shows like Good Morning America and World News Tonight. Make it seem as though that things were a little topsy turvy over there at ABC News. I mean, it's. In some ways, it can't be as bad as what's happening at CNN. It doesn't. It makes it seem like it's probably a lot more serious than it is, and it probably isn't. In the end, she left her mark on the ABC News legacy as the first black woman or person, first black woman to run a broadcast network news operation. But I want to know exactly what in the time that she has been in this job, in this position, I want to know what her biggest, accomplishment there has been, or accomplishments. A Disney spokesperson declined to make executives available for additional comment. People familiar with ABC News think O'Connell will ultimately need a new executive to run the organization on a day-to-day basis. So what does this mean for, like, where exactly would ABC News end up? Because World News Tonight, that's hosted by David Muir, right? Let me see. World News Tonight. Yeah, David Muir. Why do I know that? I don't watch that show. But I you do see that in line with the nightly broadcast, the other nightly broadcast news, which include NBC's nightly news and CBS's nighttime news, the one that Nora O'Donnell hosts. So so along with David, you've got Lester and Nora. It's for what it's worth. The only ones I really watch, the only ones I watch in passing are CBS News Tonight. I think that's what it is, and NBC Nightly News. Hey, I only watch PBS NewsHour. That's when at 6 p.m. I turn on PBS NewsHour. Sometimes I'll bounce around, see what's going on BBC World News, and then maybe at 6:30 I'll turn on NBC and CBS. But I've never hopped over to ABC that much. But again, I just these nightly broadcast news shows are in flux based on ratings and like exactly who is hosting the show. I remember when Nora took over the CBS evening news program, it was a big deal, and I think ratings dropped off. But she's a fine broadcaster, just like Lester and just like David Isham. I don't know. I've never really seen ABC News Tonight, ABC World News Tonight, or whatever it's called. But we have CBS News, which might be in peril because of the everything that's happening at Paramount in regards to them trying to sell off Sherry Redstone, trying to find a buyer for the company, which we thought would be Skydance, and it might be Sony and Apollo. And again, I think it might be Blackstone. It might be Sony and Apollo. And they might team up with NBC Universal for Paramount Plus and Peacock to be a thing. And then NBC News is ever changing in the same way that CNN and MSNBC are always changing and adjusting and doing things. Just this new news is in a bit of a panic. It feels like news is always in a bit of a panic because if you're paying attention, then we're hearing about, there's people are unsure about CBS. People are unsure about CNN. We need more outlets. It's not like you want to see any of these fail. You want to see some of them change Fox News. You want to see some of them change from Fox News to better, outlets, more fair outlets, Fox News. And this doesn't really strike confidence in the ABC News unit. Much like in the same way what's going on in Paramount does the same thing to CBS News. While Godwin sought to improve the working atmosphere at ABC News, where anchors are known to feud with one another and jockey for positions as well as interviews, and launched a new studio devoted to programs for Disney streaming outlets like Hulu, she became accused of remaining too distant from the staff and the unit's many properties, which include daytime staples like The View and The Tamron Hall Show, in addition to the evening and morning news mainstays. What she became accused, which is just Steinberg, come on, buddy, of remaining too distant from the staff and the unit's many properties. So, I take that in glancing at this, I take that to mean that she was somebody who kind of laid out the ideas and plans and never really looked and followed through and see if they were really being executed and seeing, hey, if there's going to be adjustments, there's going to be adjustments that need to be done. In recent months, arguably, Good Morning America, arguably the flagship show of the news division, correct, has seen its standing among viewers between 25 and 54, the demographic most coveted by advertisers, shrink noticeably. Yeah, I've said this before. I watch CBS this morning. Every morning, especially when I'm cycling here. There's a bike in the back over there. Especially when I'm cycling here after the gym. Yes, I do it after the gym. Immediately after I finish legs and boxing, I always cycle. That's very true for an hour or so. Sometimes less if I have stuff to do. But if I'm here, I'll put on all the news channels. I'll put on CNN, MSNBC. I'll watch the Today Show. I'll watch CBS Mornings, and I'll watch Squawk Box on CNBC. Every so often, I will turn to Good Morning America, and it's never the main host. Someone is always gone. If I watch all those news programs in the morning, 5 days a week, and I'm bouncing around for 20 minutes, going from story to story, I never and I turn to ABC News or Good Morning America once in those bounce arounds. It's never on. It's always on commercial, and when I eventually wait for it to come back, and it does come back, someone's always missing. George is never there, or Robin's never there, or Michael's never there. How can I trust that? I like that. I know, because I don't feel like I know anybody else besides those people. I think I know one person that I also worked with there too. She was not a nice person to me. Who's a reporter? I'll stop. So we've seen Good Morning America viewers shrink. For the 5 days starting April 22nd, for example, GMA captured an average of 497,000 viewers. In that range, just 49,000 ahead of CBS Mornings, traditionally the perennial third place entrant in broadcast TV's Morning Wars. I mean, but if you're looking at it from that, you're looking at it from the ABC News perspective, Steinberg is. If you look at it from CBS's perspective, that means they've done better. And they have. I think CBS's coverage of things have gotten better in this post-Licht era, Chris Licht era. ABC News is smaller than many of its rivals, including the news operations owned by NBC Universal and Warner Bros. Discovery CNN, but the operation often punches above its weight by focusing on getting behind the scenes of compelling stories of struggle and landing in-depth interviews with celebrities and cultural newsmakers, which is true. A lot of good exclusive stories are done by ABC News, but I think that's a benefit of a smaller news unit, because you have people who are hungrier. You have people who are ready to pounce and they want to go dive into the story, and they can focus on that and also do something else. Whereas at CNN, people are stretched thin across the place, and they're doing surface level news. No offense to them. Yes, I am trying to get back into the good graces of David Zaslav. But again, I'll take it back to the gym. I'm a smaller person, and it makes me work harder when I see somebody who is doing something that I'm not able to do, or when I see someone running faster than me. That makes me want to work harder. And in any case, ABC News, they're able to put out so many good stories and so many exclusives because they see that CNN has more viewers, or they see that CBS Mornings has a monthly segment with Oprah talking about her book club. Okay, well, hey, we can get an exclusive interview with Volodymyr Zelensky from Ukraine, and we can talk about how they're doing in the war. And we can go there, we can have someone there, and we can chop it up like that. In recent months, there has been new focus on harnessing some of its best-known anchors like George Stephanopoulos or Robin Roberts to create programs aimed at streaming audiences. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Chad. ABC News can continue to be great. I think there needs to be, by summer's end, I would say sooner rather than later, they need to get somebody who can run the ABC News unit in the interim, much like how The Daily Show has Jon Stewart on Mondays hosting an episode up until the election, for the election year. They need somebody, because this is a very pivotal year because of this election, and not because it's an election year, but because of this particular election. They need to get somebody in there who's going to be able to steer the ship. We're in the high seas of politics, baby. There's what's happening in Gaza. There's the war in Ukraine. There's the upcoming presidential election. Putin's going to be in charge until 2030. Women's rights are being taken away from them. There's things happening with race. People are now finally speaking up about differently abled people, disabilities, and all that stuff. People are waking up and paying more attention, and they need to. And that sounds like I'm about to rant about something. People are waking up and paying more attention. And when President Hussein Biden, let me drink my oxtail coffee. But people are paying more attention, and now they're going to. I mean, we're way past the point of time when people are choosing their preferred outlets. But if they can have a different, a different arm of news, because yes, there's going to be people that just watch Fox and just watch MSNBC. But if you can be that second or third or fourth or fifth option that somebody trusts, then that'll be good. So ABC, what you need to do, find somebody now. Don't give it to Godwin unless she can truly take care of everything up until and after the election for the rest of 2024. Or get someone now before summer. And for God's sakes, get someone who's going to get hands dirty. Not some British guy who's your best friend. And finally, this one comes from The Verge, written by Ash Parrish. What if David is like one of the, dozen people that listens to this show? I don't like what he said about me. Yes, I made $50 million last year, but $22 million was in stock options. There was an hour-long interview with him where he talked about his how much money he made. And I couldn't even read the article. I was so mad. It was at not a festival, but like a business conference this past weekend. LinkedIn is the latest company to get on gaming. LinkedIn is adding 3 puzzle games, Pinpoint, Queens, and Cross Climb on desktop and mobile. This is their effort to get you to stay on the LinkedIn platform. Who the heck would do that? You can play each game once per day, and after your daily session, you'll get access to all kinds of metrics, including your high score and daily streak. You can find them on the LinkedIn news and my network section. I don't ever want to do that, but they want to. It's just like it's the Wordle of it all. It's connections. It's the mini crossword, the regular crossword. I did the mini crossword yesterday, May 6th, 2024, in 34 seconds. I was so proud of myself. When it's under a minute, I'm always like, yeah, there you go. And I know it's the mini crossword on the New York Times. I know Monday is easy, but I love doing that. It makes me feel so smart. They're all word games. I don't know who's excited about this. According to Axios, New York Times games were played over 8 billion times last year, with more than half of those belonging to Wordle. The Times offers subscriptions for its games. In an interview with Digiday, the publisher's head of games, Jonathan Knight, explained how gaming subscriptions will help the Times grow and keep users. And people, there's like a $5 subscription if you just want to play. Wordle is completely free, I believe, but if you want to download the app and play or whatever, you can do that. I pay for the New York Times subscription because I just care about where our world is going. Hearst has done the same thing. They've acquired a game called Puzzmo, a puzzle game that includes a puzzle game platform that includes games like Spell Tower and Really Bad Chest. I don't know what Puzzmo is. I've never heard of that, and it sounds disgusting. LinkedIn is not charging for the games, but it just seems like a way for people to want to hang out on LinkedIn. The only reason I go to LinkedIn is for when I'm looking for a job, and that's like at least 4 times a day. It's not a joke. But I'm not going to be like scrolling through, looking at the feed. No. That's it. That's all the stories I have for you today. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see where you can see me talk to your favorite people in the entertainment industry. I talked to most recently Sarah Hester Roth. I was trying to decide if I A, who did I do it to? Like, who did I talk to? And B, do I mention it on this show? But this is my portfolio. I gotta show it. Sarah Hester Roth is a comedian and a singer, and we talked about her new special, "Don't Mess with a Redhead." It's fantastic. I mean that. She's very funny. She's very talented, and I'm glad that's out. You can listen to the audio version of that interview under the Constitutionals podcast, which is the flagship podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. And you can Late Night Lately, which is the late night show, both of which, along with LinkedIn Logs, you can find wherever you get your podcasts. You can watch video versions of those shows over on that is the wrong song. That is the wrong song, and I can't do anything about it. You can find video versions of the shows over on youtube.com/cpluscomedy, as well as a video version of that interview. You can listen to, you can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at @cpluscomedy. You can follow me at Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. Tell your friends about it. Hire me if you have a job, please. Bye.